then was sulfur, that was it. Okay, so here, you can't see it, but this is our elevator, there's smoke coming out. The hangar deck had 40 more planes and they burned. You can see a shot of that.
You can see, you look at
first
here.
There's a list.
Yep.
Because of that hole the guy made. And I'm thinking, well, if it keeps going, I'll just step right off into the water. Okay, but that didn't happen. We recovered. This is the result of the fire, the white foam, and there's a body right there. This is where a big bomb went down. Our armor deck is 6 decks down. The hangar deck is the 4-inch armor deck. It hit there, and it didn't penetrate to the machinery spaces, or they'd have really knocked us out. Maybe a 2,000-pound bomb, at least 1,000, and that was the battle station for our lead alto sax player. He was disappeared, missing. I mean, they never found any part of him. And just before we were to leave to go to the Saratoga, we had to take a physical because we're going out to foreign countries. The doctor told him, he's the lead alto sax, just terrific musician. He said, you could stay and you could go with your medical condition. You can decide. So he went back, told us that, and we all said, oh man, you are so good, you gotta go with us, okay? So he went with us. Who dies in the van? Him, the lead alto guy. Made you wonder and feel about, were we so successful getting him to come? And we had one other guy injured. And that's the hangar deck. All those planes melt, the metal, you can see what happened. We had a drum set, and the metal parts melted onto the deck.
So because your ship has got a hole in the hull, you're going to be out of action now. You have to go back and get repaired.
We go to an island, Liffey, which was a big harbor for us, and they put a big piece of metal over that. And then we could be erect. And then we went to Hawaii, and the most badly injured were taken off there to a hospital, and the rest of them stayed in the ship and went to Bremerton, Washington, where we were there about 2 months.
Do you want to talk about when that plane hit the hull, and there's water and there's parts? You want to pass around the other parts, Dan?
Oh yeah, okay, here's a piece of a suicide plane, fuselage, here's a valve. One of those plane parts cut the top of my hand here. And it was bleeding, but I thought, well, after General Quarters was stopped, I thought after about an hour, I asked the gunnery officer if I could go to sick bay and get something on my little wound. He said, sure. So I go there, but before I even got there, there's a passageway full of guys, every one of them injured. The first guy I saw had his eyeball right here, and it was still attached. Second guy, blood was dripping off of his elbow, and I thought, am I going to go in there and ask for a Band-Aid? No, I went back to the gun. Okay, so now night falls, about 2 o'clock in the morning. These are dead bodies in the officer's wardrobe. They were collecting all the bodies, and the skipper asked the band if they would help get the bodies into this area so no morale problem would occur by seeing horrible injured dead guys. So we spent 4 each guys, we had a group of 4 each, going around. They'd say, go to frame 176 and see if we got some bodies there. I never told anybody about that night of the horrors, except my parents. But I'll tell you just a little bit of what it was like. I went into a compartment with a flashlight, and I almost fell. I slipped, and I shined the light down. It was somebody's stomach guts. Concussion was a killer, and if his back was to the concussion, his navel blew out. That's the weakest part. So that's just a little bit of what horrible night I put up, carrying bodies. Okay, here's the next day, burial at sea.